Welcome back to the Chris Chan Update, the show where I continue to chronicle the ongoing adventures of Chris Chan because people seem to like to know what he is up to. This has been rather a slow week, and before I start, I'm going to have to give some background information. There's a card game called Twilight Sparkle's Secret Shipfic Folder, which is a mouthful. Twilight Sparkle, of course, being the main character in My Little Pony Gen 4, which Chris is obsessed with, and he's actually been obsessed with since before Gen 4 came out. Anyway, Chris has started to create his own cards for this card game using his own terrifying hand-drawn SONICHU characters. Is this supposed to be Mewtwo? I don't know what this is. This might be a My Little Pony character, but I don't watch My Little Pony. So you got all the regulars. You got SONICHU, you got magi-chan, you got Rosechu. Anyway, Chris has been drawing these cards for the card game. He's been making his own cards. And that is important background information for what is going to happen later this week. More important background information is we have the ongoing saga of Jacob Sockness. If you haven't seen my previous videos on him, I recommend watching those before continuing. Jacob is a troll, a true believer. No one's actually really sure, but he does follow Chris. He is in love with Chris, and Chris believes him to be genuine. Jacob is a rather dangerous person whose new hobby is to message me at 3 in the morning and call me a terrible person, so we will be looking at that later too. Other than that, there's also a relatively new ongoing story that I've touched on a little bit in the past, revolving around something called a Slime Corp. So there's a guy, his name is Ben Saint. He has a YouTube channel. He's done some YouTube videos on Chris before, and he's been drawing a comic about slimes. Chris really likes these comics, and so he's made them canon in SONICHU lore. He is also part of Ben's Discord channel. Unfortunately, the way that the story has been going in Ben's slime comic is not the way that Chris wanted the story to go, and so they've been arguing back and forth about the canonicity, I don't know, that's not a real word. They've been arguing back and forth about what version of events in the comics, quote-unquote, actually happened, because Chris doesn't want what happened in the comics to actually happen in C119, which is the fictional dimension that he believes is real and that he believes SONICHU lives in. All of that will be touched on once we start looking at Chris's tweets, so let's go. Before we get to all of that, Chris has read a fanfiction about SONICHU, and he's going to give us his thoughts on it. Hey y'all, this is a personal response to the fanfiction SNT vs. SONICHU, by one OpusCon789. My loves and I have recently listened to Project SNT and her friends reading up to the end of Chapter 7 of his story. I give them all lots of props and praise on her courage to read as much as they did in that stream video. Unfortunately, those events actually did happen to SNT, who mainly exists in C197, but in the alternate dimension of R687, she was whisked there through the writing and fated events. So I'm assuming that Chris meant to say that this actually did not happen in C197, but instead happened in a different dimension called R687, and this is the first time that we've ever heard of that before. I have personally met SNT recently in C197. We had a simple talk, nothing more. This is because Chris believes that he can travel back and forth between the dimensions, and so this new fictional character of SNT is now one of his friends in the other dimension, although the exact events depicted in this fanfiction didn't actually happen in the other universe because Chris didn't write it, and Chris doesn't want other people to have control over what happens in this other dimension because, I don't know, because he's Chris. Anyway, magi-chan and I have read the remainder of the fanfic, and this is my feeling of the story in simple general. OpusCon789, you really do not get me at all. Oh, this is going to be good. Too many things were taken out of context about me, and grossly exaggerated. You've needlessly warped an innocent OC's and her own creator's respective minds. You think I didn't figure out and better understood the details of women's rights. You took too many needless and reckless liberties. The only solace I can gather from this is that you got a fair understanding of accessing and seeing into other dimensions, and finding a high creator-level way to whisk yourself back to your freaking train at the time. but you showed little care for those whom you have involved from C197 and 1218 in a dimension distant from their homes. So he's praising this person and being like, oh, you too must also have magical powers for being able to see into this other dimension, but you got so many details wrong because you painted me as a bad person that you obviously aren't that good at it. Because of course that's what Chris would say. Karma will bite your sorry soon enough for the great amount of damage you have wrought. And you can have R687. I thought it was 678 before. Hold on. Oh no, it's always been 687. I totally messed that up. Never mind. And you can have R687, OpusCon 789. It is full dimension and worlds there, and it is one where Batman laughs at everything from the Joker. What? It's also one great massive mess. I know, because I've tried to visit it, personally, to put a soothing bit of healing on the Chris-chan there. I've humbled him down. I will not come after and sue you or anything. I think I've talked about this before, but if Chris believes that these other dimensions are real, then I don't understand how he also believes that he can sue someone for quote-unquote chronicling them, because that's not how, like, telling real stories works. Anyone has access to, like, actual history. Your individual punishment will come, OpusCon 789. I leave that up to fate and destiny to compete and supervise over. That is all. Thank you. Man, that had a turn. That started, he was like, oh man, you know, I read this fanfic and you did a really good job reading it out loud on your stream and you have magical powers and I'm so happy for you. And then he turned so quickly into, like, anger and loathing for this person. Oh my god, I wonder, is this person on Twitter? I'd love to see what this person has to say. Anyway, so, yeah, I guess R687 is now SONICHU canon, and this dumb Twitter thread by Chris is now part of SONICHU. Okay, so here's some new SONICHUs that Chris has been drawing, I guess. Oh, I'm sorry. Here's some new SONICHUs that magi-chan has been drawing. And, I guess they're all canon. I think there's, like, over 100 SONICHUs at this point, but, here's the next set of invited OCs. The final drawn set will be completed tomorrow. MKR Night V, and there's a couple other people who I've never heard of. So I'm assuming this one's supposed to be MKR. Unless he just wrote it totally out of order. And then we got some more. We got Ben Saint, of course. I'm assuming that's supposed to be this one. What is this thing? That's not a SONICHU. That is scary. This looks like Beerus from Dragon Ball. So it's Ben Saint, Asperchu. Yeah, this is Asperchu. That's right. Cedric Elf, Meowser Ghosts, some other stuff, Josh, whatever. Oh, look at this. Also to note, we have identified the alternate dimension where Skullgirls, among which is canon, S642. For any Skullgirls fans out there, this is the dimension y'all peeked into through the gameplay there. So, Skullgirls exists in a totally different dimension than the C197. It's S642, and when you play the game, you are peeking into that dimension. Oh, and in that dimension, magi-chan is a robot pony from Skullgirls? I am so confused. In case you don't know, Skullgirls is a popular fighting game. Here we go. Check out the SONICHU and RoseChu secret chip folder deck and expansion release party at the Secret Rift Cafe. That's a lot of nonsense words. The Secret Rift Cafe, I think that's a reference to the Brony Analysts or something. Like, they played Team Fortress. I don't know about the cafe part, but that's what the Secret Rift is. Okay, so here's this big party that Chris drew. And the fact that he was able to draw this is, like, slightly impressive, because this is a lot of characters on one sheet of paper. So, guest list. Amber Rose SONICHU, Astoria RoseChu. But wait, Amber Rose... Oh, I forgot there could be female SONICHUs now. I forgot that was a thing. Okay. Amber Rose SONICHU, Astoria RoseChu, Bolt SONICHU, Boris SONICHU, Chester SONICHU, Cheval SONICHU, Classic SONICHU, Cupcake SONICHU, Daedalus Degru, Derek SONICHU, Ember SONICHU, Fantasia SONICHU, Gabriel SONICHU, Hollyhock... Oh god, I really hope he doesn't watch BoJack Horseman. Hollyhock RoseChu, Jasmine RoseChu, Kepler SONICHU, Liliana Rose... Liliana... I really hope that's not a Magic reference. Lola Rosechew, Luna Rosechew, Misty Rosechew, Pepper Sonichu, Phantom Horn, Plotted Device Sonichu, Poppy Rosechew, Ray Rosechew, Romero Rosechew, Rosie Roar Rosechew, Scott Sound Splicer, Slurp Chew Sonichu, Snow Rose Chew, Strawberry Milk, Teddy Chew Sonichu, Tiki Rose Chew, VHS Sonichu, Violetta Rose Chew, Vivi Sonichu, Chan Rose Chew, Sonichu, Rosie Rose Chew, magi-chan Sonichu, Crizel Rose Chew, Nightstar Sonichu, Kuhn Hennefuk, Christine Weston Chandler Sonichu, and our humble bartender at work, Frigid Wings. Thank you all for being a part of our massive Twilight Sparkle Secret Ship fanfic, whatever, collectible card game expanding project. And Night V, Tricky Cat, and Asperchew, I'm sorry for overlooking y'all, but you are heavily counted and present. Thank you all as well. A comment on the piece. You can tell there are plenty of social groups in the mix, chillin', hanging with friends, talking and observing. And you will note, counting the original magi-chan, there are 3 different dimensional versions of him at the party. We love you all. Oh, so Chris's polyamorous relationship is now going across multiple dimensions of his husband. That's nice. My favorite little group would have to be Vivi talking and chilling with VHS, Poppy, and Astoria. Just so cute and colorful. Alright everyone, so we're going to temporarily jump over to magi-chan's Twitter, because this is intersecting with the tweet that Chris just sent out. So we have, "Good day everyone. With the recent completion of the Let's Get This Party On drawing from Christine and I have other details to share now. As all of you are aware, Dimension C197 houses not only all Pokemon and their trainers, but most everyone who is, quote, fictional to all of you here in 1218, in existence and coexistence. And they all can even be seen all around where you are, like Iron Man and the Avengers in New York, Batman in New Jersey, Gumball in... No, hold on. Previously, Chris had said that Gumball existed in a different universe and did not exist in C197. That was a different universe. He's mentioned specifically, it was in the past, he mentioned Gumball and Minecraft and now Skullgirls exist in different universes and not C197. Sonichus and Rosechews in Virginia and all around the world, and so on. Just know they are all around you here and now, and they all shall be here in 1218 soon, to help you all in combined efforts for the greater good. And all of these OCs in our completed piece is only a very small portion of the total population of C197. And we can be imported, sometimes, into other dimensions as needed as fate takes us, respectively. Even the likes of Stan Lee, Adam West, and Michael Jackson all remain alive and well in C197, of course, and will make a triumphant return to the public fully and tangible. But I digress. That's kind of sad. No longer be ignorant and naive. Chris just said, like, oh, all these famous celebrities that I like are actually still alive in another dimension. But you, person reading this, no longer be ignorant and naive. All of you, as Christine, amongst other higher-tier creators, authors, and artists of 1218, have displayed and continue to strive and work for and with everyone as best as they are able to. This is not a blind faith. This is real. That is all for now. Have a good, safe day. Thank you all. Oh, here's a great point. So, what about, say, Itchy and Scratchy? Are they real in C197 too? Why are they explicitly not real in The Simpsons, then? Okay. So, what about fictional characters that exist in fictional works? Are they... Do they coexist with people who they're fictional with in the fictional universe? Or... my brain. Yeah, I would not want to be the person who's in charge of Sonichu lore, because this is confusing, and it doesn't make any sense, and it's almost like it doesn't make any sense, and it's all a bunch of contradicting stuff. To everyone involved, I am pleased to announce that I have just placed the order for the first couple of copies of the OC's expansion pack set of cards. I will send out the physical cards soon to each of y'all in top loaders. Please, make certain I have your addresses. Thanks. So this is the card game thing that Chris has been working on, and he's actually spending money to print them, and I think he's going to send them to his patrons or just to people who's bought them. And to everyone, be glad I'm actually making towards availability canon SONICHU merchandise by mine. What? And magi-chan's efforts and work. The books will continue, obviously, but enjoy what will be something more awesome to play with your friends. Shut up, haters! I would simply love to be all, I forgot that you existed with the haters, but in my prerequisites in my job as a goddess, I am unable to have that luxury. Hashtag Taylor Swift. And then it's the evil moon pony petting vulture. Because I guess this is how Chris views himself as a god, is that he is an evil god, and he can't forgive his haters. You know, because famously, gods don't forgive people. Okay, so this person's sending this to Jacob Sockness, Chris, and magi-chan. I feel that this song is magic. What do you think? And it's Video Killed the Radio Star. And Chris says, yes, the instrumental version of this track is quite mentally stimulating. I have listened to it with lyrics. It was not as effective as without lyrics. And then later that day he said, off topic, idea for the title of a parody version of this track. YouTube killed the video star. Because, you know, YouTube's not videos. I would know because this is YouTube right now. You are on YouTube right now. I ended up completing yet another expansion pack today. Yay! Support me in this project on my Patreon, please. I was going to draw some more, but I was feeling too off to do that, so I did this. Be glad I did something today. I'm feeling overworked and tired. He was too tired to draw his comic book, guys, so instead he just drew some playing cards, and that made him feel so overworked and tired, because he has such a hard life, says the person who's making money from reading his tweets. So I guess I can't complain, but you guys can. Okay, so Chris copy and pasted a link to a GoFundMe to help him go to BabsCon. The link does not work, because I'm assuming that he did it wrong. But I know that this GoFundMe was being made by Alan Christopher, who is someone that we will be talking about later. Oh, Jacob Sockness is helping Chris with his Patreon rewards now to help him get shipped out on time, which is something that he bragged to me about doing. He's like, hey, I'm good for Chris because I'm helping Chris get his stuff out on time. Yeah, totally. Okay, so this is Jacob, and he's saying that he's doing orders for Chris's Patreon and stuff, and that all donations to his PayPal are being used to fulfill orders and not anything else. There's still a massive backlog of orders. And then Chris says, oh, hey, this is Ben Saint. Oh, hey, Ben Saint. Maybe you could make your statement and put a bit of your money towards helping us here. Please. And there's a picture of a sad slime, because that's from Ben Saint's comic thing. So he's asking Ben Saint for money to help him send out his Patreon rewards. And then immediately underneath this, he says, and by the way, this is not meant to be mean or a cruel joke or statement. It is simply irony. I don't think it is. I have to respect the Slimoid, because magi-chan and I know what would have happened with him in that alternate timeline had he succeeded. I was fated to not retweet of it. So, long story short, the slimes were like taking over Arizona or something in the comic, and Chris used his goddess powers to kill all of the slimes because he thought they were evil, and Ben was like, no, the slimes were not evil, and then Chris said, yes, they were, magi-chan told me that they were evil. And so now him and Ben are arguing about whether or not the slimes were evil and should have been killed or not. So this sentence, Slimoid, I know what would have happened to him in that alternate timeline had he succeeded. He's basically saying, like, hey, he's once again, you know, digging at Ben Saint, saying that he was right about the slimes that don't exist. All right, here we go. So, Chris went to makeplayingcards.com and he ordered physical printouts of the cards that he's been making. Regardless, I don't know why you'd start a tweet thread with the word regardless, but here we are. Review time, as I have just received a very special delivery. The first printed cards of mine and magi-chan's from our expansions, specifically the Arizona Slime expansion. I went with MPC playing cards for starters, after my receipt of a few cards from mail order... This hashtag's so long it doesn't fit. Whatever. As they had been printed there as well. These are really beautiful, and I had not expected the custom box to be a clamshell type of case, but it is sweet. Although I do notice the mistake on using the bleed templates with the backs, I will be sure to update those backs. Let's look at some pictures. Alright, so they came in this box, we printed them out, they're all different colors, they're his art, it's kind of scary. I also have taken observation of Printer Studios, which was Horrible People's Games default as cited from their secretshipfic.com website's print your own cards section. In comparison, while working with the OC's expansion, PS is less expensive than MPC. Oh, PS is Printer Studios. I thought he was adding a postscript. PC is less expensive than MPC. The uploading layout is quite similar, and PS's card box template PDF was more traditional flip open deck box opposed to MPC's complicated template that I now better comprehend and like. This is what you get for paying the $2 difference on the custom box from MPC. I'm still waiting on the cards from Printer Studios, so I can compare the quality for myself, and regardless, I can still use these cards as printed, and I plan on sleeving them as so. DJ Pone 3 for Pony cards, Mew and Mewtwo for Ship, and Mega Alakazam for Goal. This is fun. My bad, I forgot to mention Ben Saint in this thread. He made the strip panel that became the front box art, as well as being the event that set and stirred up chronicling part of it within these cards. Also, his OC, Phantom Horn, he is a very awesome unicorn. So, Chris spent money on multiple different printing sites to print cards for him and ship them to him just to test which one was the best quality so that he can send them out to his patrons, but he's going to keep the tests for himself and use them to play this game with no one because he doesn't really interact with people in person. So that's what this is. Alright, so this is Ben Saint complaining about what happened in the comic thing. He's saying Dick endorses whatever, I don't know what this means, in the struggle against Quickville's aggressions, because he's blaming Chris for, like, genociding these slimes that in his comic weren't actually bad guys. So Chris says, the post-Soda Storm debacle is not canon in C-197. This ordeal ended right after the Slimoid was put into the jar into hibernation. Ed Bighead shut down Slimeco for good. Everyone in Arizona has fully recovered from the slime, and they're not in any wars with Quickville. So again, Chris is basically just like putting his fingers in his ears and saying, la la la, that didn't happen, because he didn't want it to happen in his story. Everything from this point onwards on this set everything from this point onward on this is set in a distant alternate timeline and dimension. There is no struggle against Quickville from this person in this timeline at all. So I guess that means that the timeline of Ben Saint's actual comics also is a different dimension than C-197. And so it fits in with Skullgirls and Minecraft. Anyway, let's get to the fun stuff. Because that was just the Chris Chan stuff for this week. Now we're getting to the tangentially related Chris Chan stuff for this week. So let's go now to Alan Christopher. Alan Christopher is, once again, this person from the UK who has done a lot of GoFundMes on Chris's behalf. Alan wants Chris to go to the UK and Japan to have Chris's comic books printed and become real comics or something like that. That's what one of the GoFundMes was for. So Alan sent me this message yesterday at 4 in the morning. Jacob isn't anything like you've described in your videos. Neither is Christine. I love Jacob, and Christine is my best friend. So that's the kind of caliber of person that we're dealing with here. We also have some fun new messages from Jacob Sockness. And he's sending these to me from a different account than he normally does. He normally sends them to me from a White Knight Blue Heart, but these are from Chris Kink. So he started sending them to me on Wednesday, and you may note that he sent them to me at 3 in the morning, because that's usually when he sends me these messages. So we're just going to read through all of these. The goddess loves me and trusts me, and I made public that I'm handling her books and Patreon sales. I intend to use whatever funds she provides me to honor her patron deals. You fantasize about me being this dangerous beast, when in fact I'm the only person to ever go through a doxing and trolling over true and honest love for her. I do love her, and she loves me, and I'll fight for that love no matter what lies you tell about this danger that never existed. I challenge you Find any instance where I went out of my way to hurt someone with my own hands, and provide proof of fruition of these actions. Well, Jacob, maybe your own messages where you talked about killing your own girlfriend. maybe those count. I don't believe that those actually happened, but you believe that those actually happened. So that would be my evidence as far as you putting your own hands on someone. But putting your own hands on someone is kind of moving the goalpost, because I never said that you had physically hurt someone in the past, just that it was likely that you might physically hurt someone in the future, and I do have some evidence for that I will be pulling up shortly. Well, for one, here's a tweet from Jacob. He says, I plan a final dark ritual, one to sacrifice all the haters, trolls, and dark forces trying to prevent me and Chris from our goals. So as far as laying hands on people and hurting them, he plans on killing a bunch of people who want to stop him from reaching Chris, who in this case would include me. So, you know, that's always really fun. He continues to say, it never happened. My magic and occult doesn't count unless you yourself are a firm and admitted believer, which you are not. Yeah, but it doesn't really matter if I believe in your occult stuff, because you said that you're going to sacrifice people. It's like, you know, just because I don't believe in the Incan sun god doesn't mean that I don't believe that they sacrificed people and cut their hearts out. Or was that the Aztecs? I don't care. She, meaning Chris, has put a step forward in trusting me with some money and a list of sales to be shipped. If this doesn't convince you of my purity for her, nothing will or ever. Yeah, no, Chris being so lazy that he's going to let you do the work for him on Patreon does not convince me that you are a good person. You hate me, based purely on nothing. There is no proof anywhere that I've ever laid my hands on anyone. Once again, Jacob, you yourself said you killed your girlfriend. My determination to prove my love for her is absolute, but not stupid. I won't be making videos like cake farts or dancing elephants to prove anything. I'll prove my love by getting some of her books out to her patrons and getting her more trusted. A selfless choice due to how much I love her. If she ever moves to California, I'll use every anti-bullying law I can find against you and anyone else that claims she is evil by her own choice. I don't think she needs to move to California to do that. I'm fairly certain that anti-bullying laws don't exist. And, yeah, okay, yeah, I only have 2 examples of why that doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. The trolls made her evil, and worked those traits out of her needs to be accepted by someone. You all fear your loss of control to keep her alone and weak. Those days are over. This is war. I stand by my love for Christine. If you were a true person, I guess I'm a fake person, you would have offered to help her with getting her orders out on time. Jacob, I have better things to do than getting Chris's orders out on time. And in fact, I have tried to help Chris in the past before with real things. You would have tried helping her get her orders out on time, or knew that her smaller tears were pointless. You never done anything but hate on her and anyone that cares. She deserves love like any adult-aged person. It seems I'm the only on-e willing to go the extra miles, climb the mountain for her, and now put full-time job in is managing her Patreon. I bet you love tasking advantage of autistic people like me and her, and twisting lies about us for your evil agenda of views on YouTube. You are the monster, and I will one day prove it. You have to be stopped, because you spread lies about my true love and myself. Jacob, all I do is read Chris's tweets. I know you're watching this, because you're obviously talking about having watched my videos in these messages. You know that all I do is read Chris's tweets, right? And I'm literally reading these messages from you. Please point to where the lies are, Jacob. I have only done evil to those who earn it. Oh, like your girlfriend? You seem to be such a demon. I can't see his word. Will weigh heavily upon you. Tartarus is angry for you. BK Kapot. It's just badly photoshopped. The same I over and over and over. Belial is looking into your soul, and it is mighty heavy with evil. Marie Laveau will find you for me. She owns the eyes that stare down upon me when in summon the darkness and witness the visions. You're a hateful monster, and you hate my woman. My women? Women, multiple women. I'll defend her till death. Make me a demons at her command to attack further. So yeah, it's not unusual for people like the Chris's and Jacobs of the world to view themselves as some sort of protagonist in a story and everyone against them as evil or trolls or haters, bugbears, demons, whatever you want to say. And, I don't know, I guess because Jacob's mad at me for this whole, calling him evil thing, and he's probably pretty pissed that Chris sent him home. He's now viewing me as one of the demons. Although I do have to say, it was other people who convinced Chris that Jacob was no good. That was not me. It's not like Chris watched my video and suddenly said, hey, Jacob's a bad guy. No, it was the people that Chris follows and looks up to that convinced him not to talk to Jacob. So I don't know why Jacob's particularly mad at me when there's significantly better targets for his anger, like, the actual trolls who are interfering with Chris's life instead of just sharing his public tweets, which is basically all I do. I think it's been a while since I've said this, but I've totally said this before, that I don't really want to involve myself in Chris's life. I don't want to troll him. I don't want to be part of a saga or anything like that, which is kind of what Ben Saint is doing right now, and I don't really approve of that. I just want to chronicle it because there's a lot of fantastic YouTube videos and stuff out there, and, text posts and the Wikipedia and stuff like that chronicle Chris, but there was this giant, gap of knowledge right around the time when the Dimensional Merge talks started, where no one was really covering him anymore. And I was like, hey, I can do that. And now I am doing that. And hopefully one day, Geno Samuel will catch up to the modern day, and then we'll have his amazing series as something to look back on. But until then, I just want these videos to be a resource for people who want to learn about Chris in the current time period. So yeah, that was the video for this week, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope that I can do this again next weekend, and that the upload schedule is more regular, and I hope that I can also get to doing some more stuff. The 1-year anniversary of me talking about Chris on this channel is November 1st, and I don't know if I'm going to do something special for that or not. I don't really have anything planned, but if you have any ideas, then just hit me up on Twitter at GIBI_Devin or leave a comment. I read most of them. Thank you for watching.